Hello, I'm the CommanderZander. I remember it so the nostalgia critic doesn't have to. And neither should you. It's time to delve into more nostalgic childhood shows. That's right, because that seems to be getting me views. So, we just recently did the plain version of Thomas the Tank Engine. Now we're going to take a look at the boat version of it. Theodore Tugboat. This was another show that was on in the 90s, and by golly, was it as good as JJ and Thomas was. Mainly because they all have the same kind of pattern and chemistry, or something like that. So with that, let's delve into Theodore Tugboat. Here's the theme song. And you're not going to believe how hard it was to find an episode with the theme song. It was that easy. Wait, he can't be a tugboat and a friendly tugboat too. It doesn't make sense. It's extra words. People say extra words to make things sound important. Tugboat and a friendly tugboat too. Sounds important. It isn't. Well, it kinda is. But you don't need tugboat if you're gonna say friendly tugboat too. You could say Theodore Tugboat. He's a friendly tugboat, by golly. And just go with that. Or whatever. That's Theodore, the one in the ball cap. There's the title, Theodore Tugboat. That's the captain.
Isn't this a beautiful castle?
No.
I'm gonna put it in the bottom of my dish.
The most beautiful castle is in Disneyland, by golly. Or Disney World.
That's where I got the idea. Except my castle is much bigger than Rodney's. When he sees it, he's gonna think that my tank is the best. I'm gonna invite him over to see it. But first, I'm going to very carefully take the top off my tank.
Notice how he turns off the lights because, well, there's light in there.
All right, fish. Here's your new castle.
Oh, that's a nice... Oops, it floats.
Hey, look at that. It's supposed to sit on the bottom of the tank. But it won't sink. I'm getting a sinking feeling that I don't want to invite Rodney over. That's kind of funny, actually. You see, just the other day, Hank had a sinking feeling, too. And a sunken ship.
This transitions into the theme song, and of course he's also the narrator for the story.
To the big harbor, deep beneath the waves.
Once again, a narrator doing my job. What is wrong with you people? Why must I have shows to review that involve narrators doing my job?
He nosed himself around the edge and gasped out loud.
Hello, a submarine that found the lost ship of Atlantis. Or some sunken ship, I don't know.
Wait till I tell the tugs about this, he shouted.
There are all the tugboats.
Tug and salvage company.
Theodore, as I mentioned before, is the one in the red ball cap. Yes, they wear hats.
Big story.
And have faces quite like Thomas.
moving over in the oil rig out on the ocean.
The convenience with these tugboats is you can tell who they are by the names on the boats. Unlike JJ, the jet plane where you had nothing. Thomas, you can kind of figure it out, but you have to decode the numbers to the name to figure that out. With these tugboats, they got the name right on there. They knew something.
Boomed George. Hank squirmed his way into the circle. I was moving a barge once, he said in his biggest voice. Yes, Hank?
These tugboats are telling tugboat-type stories at tugboat time, story time.
In the water, coming straight for us. Hank tried to roar his engine like George, but it was more of a burp than a boom.
Actually, it wasn't quite a burp, it was more like a poof.
His throat. The bumper was as big as a
You're lying!
bumper, suggested
Wait,
the
why is that tugboat wearing a fireman's hat?
I guess so.
I can understand that hat and that hat,
Anything else, Hank?
and I guess I can understand that hat.
No, said Hank.
But why is that other tugboat wearing a fireman's hat?
There I was, said George,
Oh,
continuing
boy.
his story. Hank looked around at the faces of the other tugs, all smiling at George. I wish I had a better story.
I guess George is like Gordon in tugboat form. Makes sense, don't you think?
Guess what I found? Northumberland submarine had popped up beside the tugs.
See, why do you need a fireman's hat? This is a...
It is very interesting.
He's wearing a fireman's hat. I don't get it.
Tell us about it, Northumberland. Smiled Theodore.
Don't you think it would make more sense for him to wear, like, I don't know, a sailor's hat, not a fireman's hat? This is a tugboat, not a fire truck. Now, if this had been Theodore the fire truck, the fireman's hat would have made a lot of sense.
A sunken ship, he said to himself. If only I could bring that ship back up.
Yeah, too bad it's sunken and you can't sink. You can only float because you're a boat and boats can float. Unless they're wrecked, in which case they're gonna sink.
Before the other tugboats were even awake, Hank quietly slipped away from the great ocean dock. He hurried over to the Navy Yard, where he found Northumberland, fast asleep, of course. Northumberland always slept all day and cruised under the ocean at night.
I guess that makes him the nocturnal one. Boy.
Wake up.
Maybe he's the Batman of boats.
Just to get things going.
So Hank's trying to get Mr. Submarine over here to, get up since it's a nocturnal submarine.
Said Hank. Can you show me where the sunken ship is, please? Can you, Northumberland? Please. Northumberland decided that the only way he was
You should have just added on the special topping. Pretty please with sugar on top. But of course he's gonna do it.
Oh, this will be a great start to my story, Hank said to himself. Let me see. I followed Northumberland out of the harbor. Hank was already practicing the great story he was going
Oh,
to
for
tell.
crying out loud. How could you be practicing it when you haven't even gotten there yet?
It was cloudy. The water was very watery.
The water was very, watery. Yeah, great story, Hank. Way to describe the water in the water.
Hank, said the dispatcher. Well, Theodore looked around, and sure enough, Hank was nowhere to be seen. It feels like a storm's coming in, Fodak told the group.
Oh, good. They're gonna be stuck in a storm.
Ship. It's straight down there, yawned Northumberland. Thanks, Northumberland, smiled Hank. You're welcome, yawned Northumberland.
You're on your fucking own because you know we are nocturnal and by the way, it happens to be daylight.
To lower his special hauling rope with a big hook on the
Yeah, it's special, right? And then he's able to do it on his own without the assistance of anybody. With Thomas the Tank Engine, at least you had engineers that helped out. With the tugboats, you have nobody. By golly, did he find the sunken ship.
His hook this way, that way, and that way again, trying to snag the sunken ship.
Lower,
Said Hank finally.
Are you sure you have it? Because it looked like you were swaying back and forth and you didn't know which way it was at.
1, 2, 3, heave.
Are you serious? You ain't gonna lift that thing. Come on. Do you realize what size you are? You are not going to lift that dang ship.
Bigger than a bumper. No, a building. No, bigger than whatever's bigger than a building.
Whatever's bigger than a building. Whatever's bigger than a building, says Hank. What's bigger than a building? I don't know. Maybe like, for instance, an airplane.
They also noticed that Hank was still nowhere to be seen.
Well, there's a shocker.
We'll have to search for him, announced the dispatcher.
Oh, now you decide to search for him? You've been standing there and no sign whatsoever? Nah, you go and search for him.
Bracing themselves against the wind and the whitecaps. I hope Hank's all right, said Theodore quietly.
Uh-oh. Lightning! Well, you know what that means. When you hear the sound of thunder, don't you get too scared. Just grab your thunder buddies. I actually do have them this time. And say these magic words. Fuck you, thunder. Wait, fuck 'em only. You can suck my dick, my man. You can't get me, thunder, because you're just God's fart.
Was stuck on something.
Meanwhile, Hank is still struggling to get the sunken ship out.
Pouring out of the storm. Hank turned and saw the little cable ship. No, he hollered back. You don't need a tow or not, called Digby.
What?
I'm fine, shouted Hank.
Are you sure you can do this on your own? Because you've been struggling for hours. He can help you, you know. Use your noggin.
Good boy. Oh, good, said Digby. Then I'm heading No.
Of course, he says he can handle it, and guess what? The storms are brewing and he's on his own. What a dumbass.
Hank smiled to himself. A big storm was just great for his story, and this was getting to be a really big storm.
Why are you happy? You haven't gotten the boat out. You have not carried the sunken ship.
Working so hard trying to raise that sunken ship that he had used up all his oil.
Oh, jeez.
Hank saw that the storm was pushing him towards the coast, and he was attached to the ship down below, just like a balloon on a string. We'd like to tell everyone about this, he crowed.
For crying out loud. If you can get out of there alive!
I bet those rocks are as big as a bumper. No, a building. No, well, whatever's bigger than a building.
Again, whatever's bigger than a building. How do you not know what's bigger than a building, you dickhole?
Hank had a thought.
Hank is clearly not the brightest of tugboats. She could plainly see.
He told himself, I think I'm going to crash into those rocks.
Bravo! You're finally using the good brain that God gave you. Of course you're gonna crash into the fucking rocks. You ain't going anywhere but the rocks. The wind's gonna push you into the rocks.
Something even more difficult. Northumberland was just waking up, ready for another night under the ocean.
He's really been gone this whole time.
Sunken ship? He yawned at Theodore.
By now he should be,
Sunken ship.
you know, a sunken ship himself.
I wish I was home in my dock listening to my story right now. Hank groaned.
Ha ha ha, that's what you get for not getting help, you.
Big wave would be all it took to dash him into the rocks. Just then,
You know, I'm amazed that he's been able to survive for 24 hours in that
he was
area.
seeing things. But then, Theodore appeared through the dark, and Northumberland was with him. Hank blew his whistle as loud as he could.
Wait a minute, I thought he was out of oil. How could he be able to blow his horn that big when he's out of oil?
Theodore shouldered on through the storm. My rope is stuck, groaned Hank. Down there. Hold steady, Hank, shouted Theodore. Finally, he was close enough to his friend to button on. Thanks for coming, Theodore, said Hank. I'm really glad to see you. Northumberland died.
Yeah, and here's how the story's gonna go. So I managed to follow Northumberland all the way to the sunken ship, grab the sunken ship, maneuver my way through the storm without hitting into the rocks, and then finally get saved by Theodore, the main protagonist.
Quickly, he began to untangle Hank's hauling rope. Hank's
Up.
rope came free so suddenly that the two tugs were almost jerked into the rocks.
Well, I guess there won't be a second ship to tell everybody.
We're safe.
And then I was detained by Northumberland, and I didn't grab the sunken ship as a result. And I lived to tell the tale, which turns out to be a pathetic one. The end!
I will, said Hank.
So, George, you think you could top me again?
About the sunken ship. But I didn't even raise it, Hank said sadly. I ran out of oil and I almost crashed. I wanted to have the best story, but instead, it's probably the worst story ever. Just then, the other tug saw Hank. Look, shouted Fodak. There! It is Hank!
Everybody's coming, including the fireboat.
Theodore was helping him towards the dock. Everyone was overjoyed to see Hank safe and sound again. Tell us what happened, Hank, said Emily.
Oh my god, they actually want to hear his story.
I tried to raise a sunken ship, Hank began, but then he stopped. He looked around at all the smiling faces, and suddenly he knew just what to say. But the very best part of this story, he told the tugs, is the ending. It's when I came home to all my good friends. That's a great story, Hank, said Fodak.
Yeah, because it's short, sweet, and to the point.
I remember when
I like it.
was a sunken ship once. George.
Oh no, not again.
Well, the tugs all had a very good laugh about that.
Yeah, they blow their horn.
This story has helped me make up my mind. Even if I can't get my castle to sink, I'm going to invite Rodney over to see my fish tank. May not have a big castle, but Rodney will still like me just as much. Right now, though, I think I better take this castle back to the pet store. Thanks for visiting us here in the big harbor. We'll see you all again next time. I'd look pretty silly with a castle on my head, wouldn't I?
And away he goes. Thus ending another wonderful story of Theodore Tugboat. Even though this one barely had Theodore Tugboat in it, you still saw him at the end.
Likes to do the things that friendly tugboats do. Pushing and a pulling in the great big harbor, in the great big world is so much fun. So many brand new things to discover. Waking with a
And again, the full theme song here at the end, as the credits roll by. And there's the name of the show again. So there you go. That's Theodore Tugboat. Another fine classic of a nostalgic childhood show, if I do say so myself. Well, you would think that'd be it for Nostalgic Childhood, but you're wrong. I have more to delve into. So stay tuned, because I have more to delve into. I'm the CommanderZander. I remember something Nostalgic Great doesn't have to, and neither should you.